Hello everyone, it's Karen.
And it's Diana.
And welcome to the Mother Freakin Realtors.
Welcome, guys.
Yes, and welcome Danny to the show. So
Thank you.
Our guest for today is someone I've been working with since I started my real estate business or career in the high desert. Please welcome Danny Underwood.
Yay!
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Danny, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you been in the title business?
Awesome, thank you. So, my name is Danny Underwood. I'm with Williston Financial Group, National Title. Abbreviation is WFG, and we did start before WTF. I just always like to put that out there, just kind of, because, it's a great company. And so I've been in the industry since 1999. Okay. I started in Colton. It was called a plant, and it was where all the title companies came together to pull title records and all that stuff. So I had the pleasure of working with about 10 title companies in the past 23 years.
That's wow.
So I know underwriting practices and policies, what companies do good and what companies don't do good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, you are our point of contact with WFG. I always have to make sure I say the correct, acronym.
And if you spin it, I'll still understand.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't want to say WTF, right? Title. Although your designation is sales executive, right? What is the difference between sales executive and title rep?
So to be honest, those are just terms that they're given. We get called a lot of different things. Account manager, sales executive, title reps. It's really all the same thing. The only difference to keep in mind, because a lot of my clients don't know this, they'll call me the title officer a lot of times. I am not the title officer. I'm literally all three of those words or five of those phrases. I'm a salesperson. My goal is basically to sell our title products to clients, but I'm not that kind of guy, as you guys have kind of noticed. I'm not really like a, hey, buy my products type of guy. I'm more like, how can I help you build your business? And if we get along together, then we continue to do business together.
Yes, and I must say he does a great job at it. You make me feel comfortable, from the moment I met you till now, to where, you have helped me, set up some things to make me feel like, I'm putting my business out there, and you've given me all the tools whenever I've needed it, such as like farming, things like that. Yes. And so I'm very thankful because you're always there. And even if you're on the road, you manage to text me, which I don't want you to live in danger. But
voice text.
Yes,
that's why the spelling's bad.
Okay, that's good. Yes. And so, I'm very grateful for that because, you don't get people like that all the time.
Yes.
So when you find someone like that, you definitely want to hold on to them and
thank you so much.
Put them out there so everybody knows how
great you are.
Yes.
Well, you guys, you didn't say it was going to be like a boost news section.
Let's get the Kleenex for Danny.
I'm very emotional and I'm probably turning purple. But I do want to say thank you because it's near and dear to my heart because, getting into this industry in 1999, I was on the bottom, of course, the lowest paid,
we all start somewhere.
Starting somewhere. And I'm looking at the sales reps going, just going to be honest with you, I didn't like salespeople. And I didn't want to be a salesperson because I didn't like their persona. And so I just thought to myself, well, I want to be in their position one day, but I want to be different. Yeah. How do I do that, right? So it's like, I'm not the pretty, a lot of sales reps are, their physique's a lot better than mine. I eat a little bit too many cheeseburgers, things like that. So I'm like, how do I bring a value? So my thing was to learn farming and marketing the best that I could, running different title companies, farm departments for many, many years, just trying to determine how I could be a value and an asset to my clients because it's not going to be my physical physique. It's just But
you know what? I can honestly say, I'm not in the best shape of my life that I've ever been. And all I can tell you is that I am so much like you in the way that you just said that. Sometimes, as a salesperson, I hate to be called a salesperson, right?
Yeah.
But what I feel like I am is a service to my people.
That's right.
So I'm always open. I don't even care, if you don't choose me, if you just want to come to me for information, that's fine.
Yep.
Because I'm there for everybody. Because eventually, if I'm there for you, you're going to be there for me eventually, right?
And that's what makes you guys stand out. Yes.
Oh, and that's honestly what I feel,
differentiate.
Thank you. Ourselves.
Yes.
From other people where, I don't want to ever feel like I'm a salesy type person.
That's right.
I want to provide a service.
So value.
And so I think that if you've done that for yourself, you definitely stand out because you've never come across that way to me or to Karen.
You're not like a pushy salesperson, and you're
I'm
always
not,
there.
to a fault sometimes, because I don't push people because I see them being pushed and I think, I don't like it when people are aggressive to me.
You're like, buy. It's like, it's so funny, right? Like when we prospect, but when we receive a phone call, we're like, oh, this is a salesperson again. And we're in the same
industry and we don't want to be sold. And that's the thing. None of us want to be sold. We don't want people to sell us stuff. So in our industry, we just have to make sure that we're of value to those people. And there's so many times, we were just probably talking about this recently, we don't get paid.
Yep.
We're not going to get paid. I had a gentleman at my house this morning at 8:30. He found me on Google. He's at my house.
Oh my God, he went to your house?
He needs help with title.
Oh
I will never see $1. We're going to help him, because he just needs help. But this is what we do as a service.
That is crazy.
And just keep doing it and just keep, I
Stalker.
got dogs, I got a camera. I'm like, I saw you on my camera, but you just want to be here for people.
No, that is
always.
true.
How did he even find you?
So that's the thing, Google my business, it's maps and it's search.
Oh my God. Okay.
See, and that's something, I don't know if I can break off a subject or talk about something.
Oh, no, that's completely fine.
The offset of costs, right? So being with 10 different title companies or so in the past 23 years, it may sound bad to some people like I was a hopper, okay? I wasn't a hopper. I was valued and these companies kept coming to me with money. And when I was younger, if a company came and said, hey, a couple thousand a month, and you, as a youngster, you listen to the money. Mm-hmm, as I got older and wiser, it's like, okay, I've been offered more money than I make now at other places. I will not budge because I love where I work. Mm-hmm. One of the main reasons is, and you guys know, do you guys get hats for me and blankets and and like stuff like that, like lunch pails, and you don't? And some of my clients go, gosh, can't you guys bring me a new cup like that company did? Or can I get a new mug because it's really cool? They got these things and these things. Our rates are a lot lower than those companies because our overhead is a lot lower. And that was the goal of WFG National Title. Our founder, Pat Stone, he was a Fidelity guy, ran Fidelity for many years, and he thought, I need to do something different for the consumer because this is a consumer industry. Yeah. It's not about us getting rich and driving, it's about helping the consumer. Yes. So he discounted these rates, and we do catch a lot of stuff from competitors saying that maybe our title policies aren't the same or aren't as good. They're the same. We are regulated by the same Department of Insurance. The policies are exactly the same, but we pass on the savings to the consumer so that your guys' clients can save money. Yeah. Now, I know you don't get the hats.
Yeah. And
darn.
I'm sorry, but
I'm really looking forward to those hats.
Wouldn't you rather see?
Look,
and that's my thing.
Honestly, half the time, we don't keep everything.
Some
honestly,
of them I do, even as a...
There's some that I do, but there's only so many you can keep.
Exactly. You can't keep 10 hats.
I would rather pass on a discount to a consumer and have that come back and say, like, you know what, we did this for you. And I think, again, if you go further for your client, you're going to get that in response and from gratitude. And, it's all about also serving in the gratitude business as well.
Yes. It's our fiduciary responsibility to save our clients money.
Yes. And then you guys can you also mention about the discount?
I can. And I'm really glad you mentioned that because we just went through litigation because our competitors don't like us doing good. So we won, and I'd love to say that it was an Orange County lawsuit against us giving discounts.
Rub it in, Danny.
Just seriously, can you imagine competitors getting mad at us for saving clients money? Yeah. So we won the litigation. The thing is, when we run these discounts, they are the deepest discounts registered with the Department of Insurance for title insurance in our area. 25% off for senior citizens we classify as 55 plus. 25% off for veterans. They can be active or retired. And we also have some other discounts we can discuss maybe, other times. But those are the two main discounts just to keep compliant. We just need to make sure you are 55 plus or you are a veteran. And that typically in the high desert saves about $400 to $500 a policy.
And that's a big savings there, especially for somebody like a retired, like a retired gentleman just trying to buy a house. $500 is a lot of money for somebody.
And when we can all pull together.
For anybody, really.
I could use it right now. Trust me. And see, that's the thing too. I get paid less. because my commissions are, but
true.
that's okay. We're saving the consumer. And I don't know, I could talk about that for days, but yeah, we love saving people money.
Okay.
That's always great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I gotta say, I gotta make not a negative comment, but I could, if there's something that I don't like about your product, I always send you an email like, hey Dan, maybe we could do something like this, maybe we could improve it. I'm pretty sure the products can use some improvements, to make it better. But I think what makes a company stand out is people. You can have the best product to sell, but if you have crappy people manning it, it doesn't mean anything. And I'm not saying that we have bad title reps, because we have really good title reps in the area. But,
Agreed.
But what makes you stand out, I think, is just you're different. Like the service, like what you said. He could be on vacation. If you send him an email, it's like 8:00 at night, and he'll send a response. I was like, "What are you doing, Danny?"
I love your responses. You're like, go to sleep.
Go to sleep already. I'm sending this email to you at 8:00, so I won't forget.
Yeah.
Not because I'm expecting you to send me a reply back. But that's just you. And then I gotta give a shout out to Gabe Hernandez and Kelly Lees, because
you're awesome.
if Danny's not available, if he's on a meeting, he'll reply real quick like, hey, I'm in a Zoom meeting, or I'm driving, but I'll shoot it to my team.
Yep.
And you'll get a response quick,
Pretty quick.
And it's just like a give and take relationship, and you take care of the people that's helping you grow your business too, right?
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, and with that, I heard something not too long ago. It's, gosh, I don't want to mess this up because it's so spot on. It's, if you're a blessing to others, you hope that you can be a blessing to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's where, I hope that, it's a relationship.
Yeah.
And as long as that works, where I can count on my blessings with Danny, he can count on my blessings.
That's
and it's just, it's both a two-way relationship. And definitely that's what you want in every single aspect of, real estate.
Yep.
And anywhere else in personal as well. If somebody isn't a blessing to you, bye.
Yep,
You know
no
what I
time.
mean? Because it has to be definitely both ways in order for it to work. And that could be in work or in life.
I got to say, I was told years ago God help me, my wife's probably going to laugh, by my mom. My mom told me this, and I just remember this. I'm a mama's boy, right? She had said, because she used to be a sales rep years ago, and she said, if you do a good job, it'll take a year or two to get through the hard times in sales, but you'll get to a point where you literally are calling on friends all day long. Yeah, it's the coolest thing, you guys. You guys are my friends. You're my clients. After here, I go meet with another client. She's got a sandwich for me. We do some marketing stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
We enjoy what we do.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's our choice.
Yeah. So we went through blessings, but what is the worst or most memorable experience you've dealt with as far as title goes?
Well, there's a lot of them, but there was one recently. Man, this one recently. I'll try to make it a short story, but what happened was I got a deal from a client of mine, and when I do what's called a listing prelim, as you guys are aware, when you get a listing agreement signed, I prepare a listing prelim, or my company does. Then I get that prelim and I review it for you guys to make sure you know what's going on. Well, if it's a good prelim, it's like, hey, you got a mortgage, you got some taxes due, blah, blah, blah. All right. If it's a bad one, you've got, you got items 1 through 20 to look at and try to clear up before you can sell this home. Probably had about 20 items, about $300,000 to $400,000 in tax liens. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, so their profit was not, it just wasn't there. When it came down to it, we did all this work and realized they were not going to walk away with enough money to sell this home. So my friend canceled the listing, boo-hoo, and we walk away. It's really sad to not be able to help people. At the end of the day, we're not getting paid, but we're sad because we can't help them.
You can't even sell
it just hurts. They can't even walk away. So about a month later, I get a call from another friend of mine, and she goes, hey, I need a listing prelim on this property. And I look it up. It's the same property, and I go, oh, why? Like, what?
You're trying
why?
To sell it for another agent.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Don't do this to me. I've already gone through this. This is a nightmare. You're not going to be able to sell this. So she goes, well, we're going to give it a try, because she was friends with, I think, the sister. The other agent was friends with the brother. So there was just, you know how that goes. So now I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm feeling weird because I'm in the middle of this thing. So I had to tell her, hey, look, this was already here. We have the prelim. take a look at it. It's horrible. She proceeds to get the listing, and I'm just thinking, oh, this is not going to work. She's going to spend all this time. She's a really good lady. She's going to waste all of her time trying to do what my other friend tried to do and just wouldn't work. Well, the sister or the brother, whoever it was, got an IRS attorney, or a tax attorney, I'm sorry, to work with the IRS and get the IRS to basically settle. Even though the IRS isn't going to get their full amount, they still want to be able to walk away from the property.
Yeah,
right.
I think
bit of money.
it was like the fathers, and the father had all these problems. The father passed away, and he left it to the kids, and it just ended up a big mess. So we were able to get it closed. I mean, it was so crazy that when I get this recording confirmation, I'm going, it feels so good. You can't
believe it?
You really can't believe it because, there's so many no's we receive in this industry. There's so many no's, there's so many roadblocks, but if you're persistent, you can get through it. And I'm not saying anything about any of the other agents because they were both equally amazing agents. It was just this sister decided she would get a hold of it. It was just the way it worked. They
were willing to do the work, basically.
They were, and a lot of people don't want to do that because, you get a real estate attorney or a tax attorney involved, there's fees there too. So it was just a beautiful thing.
It's very discouraging when you owe $300,000, and on top of that, if you want to hire a lawyer, guess what? You have more fees.
There's another $50,000.
So there's really nothing left,
No,
You do all the work, and there's nothing left.
And you're hurt at the end of it. It's just...
So really quick, Danny, we sometimes forget that there's listeners out there that don't know what title liens are, or I'm sorry, liens on title are, or what title is all about.
Good point.
Okay.
Who is this guy? Why is he here?
Right. No. Yeah. So how would you educate them on how this is all important in a real estate transaction?
I appreciate that question because as the consumer is concerned, a lot of what we're talking about may not make sense. So as a consumer, some of the biggest things that we see, the problems on title, they're called clouds. We call them clouds. You go to sell your property or even refinance it and go, I can't because there's a cloud on title. Those clouds can consist of anything from you granted the property to your son or your husband or your spouse or whatnot, and it wasn't through title insurance. What that means, and a lot of people do it. They'll call me through the day and say, hey, Danny, I just want to transfer the property to my son or my cousin, blah, blah, blah. No money is involved. We just want to transfer it into them. Maybe we're getting sick. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They transfer the property. Sounds great. Now the property is in your cousin's name or whoever you granted it to. And then cousin goes to sell or refinance it. Title goes to insurer and goes, okay, when that deed went from them to him, there was no title insurance. What that means is when it happened, title didn't run what we call GI, General Index, and get the SI, Statement of Information. I'll explain. Your social security number, your aliases, your name, your past addresses, so that we can find out if there were any judgments, liens, bankruptcies, anything against you when you transfer the property to your cousin, because that's not a clean transfer.
Yes.
So people are creating clouds left and right. And they don't know
That's why you need the title insurance.
You do. And see, that's called an accommodation recording. We used to do those years ago, but title companies were losing so much in litigation, they had to stop doing them. So there's companies like We the People. We have DocStar up here in the high desert that will record those accommodations. It is a legal transfer, but the consumer needs to know when they go, that person that got the new deed, when they go to sell or refi, they're going to need signatures and a statement of information from the prior owners. Yeah, so a lot of times people, they'll get angry at me and go, why? And I go, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Yeah. And it's the same with other underwriters. And that's the blessing I have with working with all these title companies is as my client, I can say, hey, listen, we will not insure this because of A, B, and C. But I do know if another company will insure it, I can say, hey, that company might insure it. And I'm usually right with that. A lot of times I'll get calls from clients and they'll say, hey, this company won't insure this property. Can you guys take a look? And I'll say, what's going on? They'll tell me and I said, no. I don't want to blow smoke. Our underwriting policies are very similar across the board.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Diana? Can you share us the last transaction that you had? Because that turned out to be a nightmare.
So originally I had a listing. My sellers were living in Japan, but their property was here in Victorville. So amazing people. Long story short, we get the transaction, going. And, I tell the lender, FYI, the client lives in Japan. She says, okay. And so I said, so if you want to reach out to her, email's best, because phone number is obviously, it's like 12 digits long.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's long.
And not to mention the time difference, too.
Yes, and the time difference, it was always, there's 16 hours ahead. So anyhow, when we got down to escrow documents, she hadn't reached out to her and told her it had to be notarized from the very beginning. So let's say this was back in December. It was the beginning of December, when we first started the transaction. By the end of the transaction, which was 30-day escrow, so towards the end, towards New Year's, I come to find out they weren't informed. So I said, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so I reach out to the lender and I say, did you tell them that they had to get it notarized? Oh, no, I didn't. And I said, they live in Japan.
Oh, no.
So then she says, oh, it takes like a month to get an appointment with the consulate for the notarized document.
Yes.
And that's not just even.
And here's the kicker, okay? So the Japanese actually celebrate New Year's Eve for 2 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
So everything is closed
until the 8th.
For 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now I have to tell my, the buyer's agent, guess what? We're not closing on time.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that my seller has family out here. So she bought a plane ticket and came back out here to get it notarized, because had we waited for the consulate, which was 2 weeks after January 10th, she would have had an appointment till February 10th. Mind you, mail from Japan is about 2 months delayed.
Oh my gosh.
And that's overnight. Overnight
That's
mail.
forever.
Wow.
So I want to say it was like 1 or 2 months. I'm not sure, but it's a ridiculous amount of time. So, thankfully she wanted to spend the money to come and visit her kids and, finalize these documents. And we ended up closing. But, just
that's rough.
Crazy.
That's rough.
Just to get the title done and transferred.
Yep.
So, if you guys ever have a person or client
out of country.
who lives out of country, make sure that you know the whole policies in regards to the getting it notarized.
Really, and that's the American consulate in whatever country
moly.
they're in. They need to sign in an American consulate, and that's it's not just like walking into Staples and getting a notary.
And just because they get an appointment in February doesn't mean that they're gonna get it notarized. It could just be an appointment too. Like, hey, your appointment is February, but you're not gonna get it notarized until a later
Let's
date.
just discuss what we're gonna do when we set your appointment.
Yeah. Well, luckily, she can use her flight as a write-off.
That's right. That's right. I like that.
But other than that, do you have any stories, Karen?
Well, I'm the
title.
Yeah, well, the last one that I had, it was really, really unfortunate, and that was kind of like my fault, because I'm like I always see the good in things, like, everything's rainbow and everything's flowers and butterflies. So Danny always says, get a prelim, and you get a listing. Yeah, get a prelim. I said, okay, I'll get a prelim. But anyway, I did it.
Nag.
Yeah,
I know.
So I had this listing for 6 months, right? It's a land listing in Phelan. And I almost double-ended the deal. It wasn't really that much, but hey, we don't get double-end deals all the time, right?
No.
And I was so excited that I had a buyer who I found a buyer for it. They called me because of the sign that was on there. Come to find out that there was a COC that needs to be done. And what does COC mean?
Certificate of completion. There was a problem with the legal description. And what consumer is going to know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically what happened was the owner bought it from a realtor, from an agent about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So what they did was they probably just went to like Doc Star Services, so the agent just did like a title transfer basically with no title insurance.
Yep.
So the current owner didn't know that there was an issue. So basically the issue was the lot was subdivided illegally.
Yep.
So to make the story short, so
gosh.
this COC, because your wife went through it,
yes.
that takes a good 6 months to a year to get that document done. So what a waste, just because I didn't get, I mean, the listing was active for 6 months.
Yeah.
If I did, and I'm guilty, okay? I'm fessing up.
We're not perfect.
Yeah,
we're not perfect.
Yeah,
Right,
I know,
all
I
of
was
us.
like land
We
listing.
wish we could be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but, I always think, everything's going to be great. Minor errors in title, not big deal. But guys, when you're dealing with San Bernardino County or any government
Truth.
office for that matter, it's out of your hands.
Yep.
So if they say 6 months to a year, you really can't do you can't really
Can't
make
hurry
it
them.
Yeah, you can't make it any
Exactly.
faster. So just well, in this business, it's always a lesson learned. So next time I know, always order a prelim.
Order
in
your
advance.
prelim, guys. And that goes back to me too, being the bearer of bad news. I always tell my clients, if there's a bad prelim review, I'm like, I'm sorry, I've got to do this. And even sometimes I'll talk to the consumer, I'll talk to the seller, because the seller's livid, going, everything was great until you got this title guy, this title guy screwing all up, and I got to call him and say, no, I promise it's not us. Any other title person would do it, but we have to clear this so that you can pass clean title to your owners, to the buyers.
That's why it's important to have a title insurance.
is.
And to point that out too, I think what makes you different too, it's not like I use a lot of different title reps all the time, but when we get a prelim report from you, you kind of actually walk us through it, not just say, here's the prelim report, there you go.
Have at it.
But when
Try to guess.
I know.
Just kidding.
It's a lot. You guys got a lot to do.
Like, what am I supposed to do? But when you send us an explanation of what's on there, it really helps us, because when we are trying to explain it to clients, it makes us sound more professional, that we know what we're actually explaining to them. We're not just saying, oh, there's a lien, or there's
Call
a
my
lien.
title rep.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what it is.
At least we can't say, well,
Yeah.
actually, you know what, that's not part of my job, I'll pass you on to the title rep. But it makes us more knowledgeable, more professional,
Absolutely
when we
does.
can actually explain the basic of the prelim,
Thank
which I
you.
think was just really helpful for me anyway, and I'm sure it is for you too.
I appreciate that, because we
Yeah.
want you guys going into these deals knowledgeable and knowing what's going on.
And just so you guys know too, a lot of things that people didn't know back in 2020, and I want to bring this up just in case if you guys did this, was the forgiveness that really isn't a forgiveness. It creates like a second loan on your title. So just FYI, know that if you were involved where you were delaying your payments, monthly mortgage payments in 2020, because your bank was telling you can add this to the end of your loan
term.
What that does is actually you have two loans, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like a junior lien pops up.
Yes, it's like a junior lien. So if you're ever interested in selling your home, know that there is two things that your realtor should know when you're going to sell your home, because they do take a little longer to process in the close of escrow.
Yep.
Because again, it's going through, I believe, what was the all I know is it takes a little longer. Okay, guys, I can't think right off the bat. But as we're talking about liens and all this stuff, I just want you guys to be aware of what happened back in 2020 and things you guys should be aware that has popped up in a transaction of mine. And luckily, we were able to resolve it on time for the close of escrow. But I do know that has happened to a lot of people, because we thought, we can defer our payments. Well, just so you know, that deferral comes back. So
You're paying.
just FYI, okay?
Yeah.
I just want you guys to know that for all of those that took advantage of that in 2020
Yes.
to get out of a rut, which is fine. But just know that if you ever do sell your home, that kind of acts like a little lien on your property.
Absolutely.
Just FYI. But anyway, Danny, if anybody has any questions or concerns to ask you,
Yes.
where can they reach you?
Well, thank you. So my number is 760-221-7133. Email is titlewithdanny@gmail. I also have a company email, but it's longer. So titlewithdanny@gmail, just easier to remember.
Yes.
And if I can just point one more thing out along with that, because we have been seeing a lot of fraud in San Bernardino County, and it is my job to protect our consumers. One of the things I saw recently, I had a client, she wanted to get a deal going, pull the property profile, she's going to meet with the owner, and I called her and said, hey, listen, there is a lien attached to this property that just was filed, and it's like a 40-year lien. This person can't sell their property. So she's shocked. She goes to meet with the owner. She gets a call from the brother. The brother says, my dad's getting a little older. His mind's starting to slip. He's been inviting realtors left and right to come look at his house to try to list it. Got a hold of a shady realtor. That shady realtor agreed that he can help him keep the property as long as he can have him sign this document. 40-year lien. So let's protect our elderly guys. Let's watch out for our parents and you know, anyone that you know that owns property that's getting a little bit older. Let's watch out for them, please, because there's some sharks out there.
Yeah.
And we're going to do everything we can to catch them. But in the meantime, let's just take care of our people.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Danny.
You're
it's
welcome.
always been a pleasure to have you at our show.
Yes. And then please make sure you like and share and go to our YouTube channel and make sure you give us any comments or any feedback on what you guys watched today. And we'll be watching, we'll be coming back next month. Thank you so much.
And as always,
thank you for watching Mother Freakin' Realtors.